metal casting. So this is your world casting process in nut and shell. So how? This is one box, lower box, that is called your drag box, and this is upside box, that is called your cope box. Cope box, COPE, cope box. So drag and cope box is made by sand. In sand casting it is made by sand, or in die casting it is made by some material or some specific material like steel or some carbide material. So most of the time it is sand for sand casting process. Fine. So we will make a geometry. We will make a geometry to we will make some arrangement to flow our molten material to reach into this cavity, and my product is the replica of this, reverse replica of this product, this cavity only. Fine. So this inner portion that is required to make the hollow cavity, into your material, this material is required, that is called your core. Your molten material will be poured in this section, so that is called your pouring basin. So your molten material will be poured into this section. So this molten material will be poured into this section. So what happened after filling this portion? This molten material will be flowing like filling in this cavity. So when this metal is going side by side to the wall in this sprue, this is called your sprue. By sprue, your molten material is flowing from your pouring basin to your choke area. So this area is called your choke area. So by sprue, your molten material will coming into your choke area. By sprue, your molten material will coming into your choke area. Fine. So after choke area, this passage is called runner. This passage is called your runner. So this upper portion, this thing is called your skim boom, skim bob. Fine. So what is the use of this skim bob? To entrap slag. Some slags will be created because a high velocity molten material will be coming, a very high velocity molten material will coming into this cavity. So when it will strike to the sand, some sand particles will be erased. So it will going by this channel into my molten cavity. To detain this sand particles going into my mold cavity, I made this thing, molten skim bob. So most of the metal is heavier than your sand particles. So this upper portion, slag portion, will remain in this things in this cavity only, and molten material will be flow by this portion. That is called your riser. This thing is called your riser. The shape of riser is always cylindrical, and shape of this sprue is always conical. Shape of this runner is rhombus. With the height to length ratio is 1:2. 1:2. This is the cross section of this runner. Fine. Then my molten material will be going into this cavity to fill this cavity. Fine. So after cooling this section, we will get what will happen? Material will be shrink. So when material will be shrink, some arrangement is there that is called riser. So material will be provided by this riser only into this due to shrinkage. Some material will be required to fill this cavity. That will comes by this riser. That will come by this riser. So it will fill this whole cavity. It will fill this whole cavity, and that is called pattern. And this product is called your casting. To make the hollow cavity, some external arrangement is there. That is some sand pattern is there. That is called your core. Fine. So this is the welding. That is the casting process in nut and shell. So in casting process, there are 4 kind of alloys we have to give to fill the cavity and to get the perfect shape of castings. So what is required? So there are 4 kind of alloys. There are 4 kind of alloys. One is draft allowance. First one is draft allowance. Second one is your pattern. Second one is your shrinkage allowance. Second one is your shrinkage allowance. Third one is your distortion allowance. And fourth one is your pattern allowance. Fourth one is your wrapping allowance. And fourth one is your wrapping allowance. So these 3 allowances are positive allowance, and this one is your negative allowance. So wrapping allowance is your negative allowance. So what is the positive allowance and negative allowance means? Positive allowance means we have to provide some extra material. We have to provide some extra material to compensate this 3 kind of allowance. But in wrapping allowance, that is negative allowance, we required to take out some material. We required to take out some material by casting itself. So providing, that means positive allowance, and we are taking out some of the material from your casting. That is your negative allowance. So what are the allowance? We will discuss one by one. So first one is your draft allowance. What is draft allowance? See, if we want to make this kind of structure, this kind of cavity, so if I want that kind of product by casting, so when my casting, my sand is like this, fine. If I am trying to remove this casting or this pattern, if I want to remove this pattern out from your melt box, what will happen? Some of this portion, because a very thin film is there, thin air film will be there, that is airtight. Some vacuum will be created at this portion. So removing this pattern is very tough job. Fine. So what will we do? We made some arrangement. What is that? Made some taper at this portion. So what it will be do when we take out this casting, when we take out this pattern, that is very easy. Why? Because we are having some angle here, so the air films will not, that vacuum will not created. We can easily remove this thing. So we need to provide this much extra material to your casting. So you are providing some material. So this kind of allowance is called your draft allowance. This kind of allowance is called your draft allowance. Then fine. Shrinkage allowance. Shrinkage of material is of two kinds. First one is your liquid shrinkage and second one is your solid shrinkage. Liquid shrinkage and solid shrinkage. For liquid shrinkage, riser is provided. For solid shrinkage, allowance is provided. Allowance is provided means when the material is in solid state and its temperature will comes down, it tries to shrink. And what will happen if try to shrink? The original shape of casting will be lesser than what we get. Fine. So we have to provide some extra material to compensate the solid shrinkage. So that solid shrinkage allowance is given to this material. Fine. That is called your shrinkage allowance. Third one is distortion allowance. Means if you want to create this kind of geometry, this kind of pipe, by casting process, you cannot generate. Why? Because along with this center position, this material always try to get distorted. So you will get this kind of geometry. This kind of geometry you will get. So this kind of geometry will not happen if we made this kind of arrangement. So what will happen? If my material tries to come in this position, it will remain straight. So some extra material is needed to make this kind of arrangement. That is called your distortion allowance. Because of distortion, center line distortion, it is given to your material. It is called distortion allowance. Fine. Third one is wrapping allowance. What is wrapping allowance? When my pattern is inside your metal, is inside your sand casting. Inside your sand means this is your drag box or coop box. So how we remove? To easily remove this pattern, we just shake this pattern in the both direction. We shake this pattern in both direction. So we will create some more cavity. So this cavity will be increased. So because of this increasing in this cavity, that is not required. So we will give some lesser material. To compensate this wrapping allowance. See, in every process, the material is less. So we are providing material. And in this process, my cavity is large. We don't want this much material will be going into your cavity. So we provide some lesser material in that. Means we will make this kind of arrangement. So that is called your wrapping allowance. So only your wrapping allowance is negative. Other three allowances positive only. Fine.